สวัสดีค่ะ and welcome back to Edward Insight here on GBN Station. You're now with me กรกนก วิชิตพันธ์ giving you updates on Buddhist activities as well as meditation researchers from around the world. We'll also be taking a look at the famous pagoda in Vietnam as well as the sacred Buddhist stones in Japan. Let's get started. The first ever Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) online international exhibition on shared Buddhist heritage was launched during the 19th meeting of the SCO Council of Heads of Government. The meeting was held on 30 November in New Delhi, India, via video conference. The institutions participating in the exhibition are the National Museum, New Delhi, the Indian Museum, Kolkata, the National Museum of Kazakhstan, the Dunhuang Academy, China, the National Historical Museum of Kurdish Republic, several museums in Pakistan, the State Museum of Oriental Art, Moscow, Russia, the National Museum and National Museum of Antiquities, Tajikistan, and renowned archaeological sites in Uzbekistan. The exhibition features the latest technologies, including 3D scanning, a WebGL platform, virtual space utilization, innovative curation and narration methodology, and more. Visitors have an excellent opportunity to gain knowledge and a glimpse of the artistic wealth displayed in various museums across Asia. The exhibit, which will run until 28 February 2021, brings together objects representing artistic excellence embedded within an eclectic historical timeline spanning across the development of different schools of Buddhism in Asia. The exhibition can be accessed at its website for worldwide viewing. The Buddhist communities led by Praku Sopon Panyasan has been at the forefront of the efforts to reach out to villagers in Ban Hua Pa Kiao to offer relief aid such as rice packages, instant noodles, and canned foods. The majority of the water mass came from Shawut district, Nakhon Si Thammarat province, while it was running into the lake in Patalung province, causing it to overflow and aggravate the flooding into Ban Hua Pa Kiao. Fortunately, most of the villagers' single-story houses were built above the road level. However, there are also some of the houses that are inundated because of the houses were built at the same level of the road. On December 7th, local Buddhist communities came to distribute lunch boxes and survival kits to the flood victims. Some of them were moved to tears by their benevolent actions. Praku Sopon Banyasan said, "When the devotees meet with dangers, we, all the monks, need to give them a hand. Therefore, senior monks were aware of this incident and decided to provide these relief aids to help those in need." If you are wondering what can you get out of being mindful, today the positive psychology will be telling you the 5 most common benefits of mindfulness. 1. Decrease stress. When you induce a state of relaxation which can be achieved through mindfulness, another kind of meditation, or other activities, you can reap the benefits including higher brain functioning, lower blood pressure, lower heart rate, increased awareness, increased attention and focus, lower anxiety levels, experience of being calm and internally still, experience of feeling connected. 2. Enhance ability to deal with illness. Mindfulness during sickness. Perhaps one of the most studied groups in terms of the impacts of mindfulness is cancer patients and those who are suffering from chronic or potentially terminal illness. For example, the ECOM trial, a therapy program for cancer patients, found that mindfulness can reduce symptoms of stress, enhance spirituality and non-reactivity to experience, facilitates post-traumatic growth, and enhance vigor while relieving fatigue. 3. Facilitation of recovery. Mindfulness can not only help you deal with a chronic or potentially terminal illness, but it can also help you move on from it. A study from MBSR in Chinese breast cancer survivors provided evidence that mindfulness can enhance post-traumatic growth and decrease stress and anxiety in cancer patients. Another study of young breast cancer survivors showed that women who practiced mindfulness were more likely to experience increased self-kindness, decreased rumination, and decreased stress. 4. Decreased depressive symptoms. One of the ways in which mindfulness can help treat depressions is through enhancing practitioners' ability to regulate their emotions. Mindfulness provides the tools needed to step back from intense negative emotions, identify them, and accept them instead of fighting them. This allows mindful thinkers to better regulate their emotions, leading to better coping and management of depression. 5. Improve general health. A study of how the two phases of mindfulness impact health behaviors found that practicing mindfulness can enhance or increase multiple behaviors related to health, like getting regular health checkups, being physically active, using seat belts, and avoiding nicotine and alcohol. Tam Chu Pagoda, Vietnam's largest, is a stunner from the spectacular landscape it is set into the architecture and sublime artworks that adorns it. The pagoda is a part of the Tam Chu Spiritual Tourism Complex, which is spread over 5,000 hectares, almost one-fifth of it as lakes and most of the rest as dense forests spread over mountain ranges and valleys. The spectacular Tam Chu Lake is at the heart of this complex. Located around 65 kilometers from Hanoi in Hannan Province, Kim Bang District, the pagoda put Vietnam firmly on the international Buddhist map last year when it hosted the UN Vesak Day in May, celebrating the birth and the enlightenment of the Buddha. Thousands of guests from more than 100 countries and territories attended the event. The pagoda dates back to the Dun Dynasty, but its latest makeover makes it a rare monument that stays true to tradition. The temple has a ceiling that is 39 meters high and an area of 5,400 square meters. It can accommodate up to 5,000 people during important occasions. At the very heart of the temple stand 3 colossal Buddha statues made of black bronze, representing the past, the present, and the future. Each statue weighs over 200 tons and has an intricately carved lotus petal behind that is inlaid with gold. The statues radiate beauty and peace that calms the mind. Oita Prefecture is noted for its stone Buddhas believed to date back to the 12th century. The origins are quite unclear as no historical records of them have survived. According to local folklore, they were created in a memory of a princess who died young, but according to archaeological evidence, this seems unlikely. There are about 60 of these stone Buddhas, which are divided into 4 groups and located within the grounds of Megezu Temple, carved into the cliff walls that depict a variety of Buddhist figures such as Vairocana and Amitabha, known in Japanese as Nyorai. A total of 59 of them were designated as national cultural properties in 1995. Having been abandoned for centuries, the Azuki stone Buddhas were gradually shaved by the rain and wind, as well as a pilgrim's path that is often flooded. Many of the statues underwent restoration work in 1993, which was met with mixed reaction from locals. They argued that one decapitated Buddha should remain as it had been for some time, but they gradually accepted the changes. A replica of the pre-restoration Buddha can be found on Azuki Station's platform, as well as a replica of a post-restoration statue outside the station. Local superstition states that praying to this Buddha will prevent one from losing their job. Today, the teaching monk for Mind Stories will be telling you 3 ways to live happily in the modern societies. Let's get started.
What we need to understand is nobody can escape being gossip, being commented, or having trash talk on the person. It is normal as long as we live in the world, in the society, that we're gonna have to face these bad talks behind our back. But that depends on how we take it. We can't change how people think about us. We can't stop people from talking about us, but we can stop putting ourselves as a victim of being affected by it, because that's the key. If we allow what people said to be affected on our feeling, that means we accept that we are what they're talking about. As a result of that, whatever they said become reality to us, to me. So if I chose to believe what they said, I will become what they say. And that will, of course, reduce the quality of my life. I'll become less happier, become less content with myself. I'll become even less proud of who I am. But if I stop worrying about what people are talking about, I concentrate on what I do, I keep on reflecting on myself, I take those things as just a comment to reflect upon whether it's right or it's wrong, it's true or it's not. In that way, I can also keep my ego in check and keep upgrading myself to be better. And that is why it's not something to be putting our feelings on when it comes to bias, but it's also not something to be taken granted or neglecting it. So whether bias can affect the quality of your life, it depends on how much you allow it effective on you. First of all, it begins with the adjustment of our understanding that we can never avoid being prejudiced upon. So first of all, don't get troubled by it. You are not what people say if you don't accept it. When people is pointing a finger at you, always remember 3 fingers pointing back at themselves. So if you choose not to be what they said, then you are not. So that's why if you choose not to be affected by what they said, then you're not becoming what they're talking about. That's number 1. Number 2, when people saying things or giving you comments, it doesn't always mean bad, but it's an information for us to look upon. It's better not to take it for granted or neglecting them, because sometimes it can be very useful. For example, when some people comment about me, instead of getting upset over them, I would just take consideration, examining it, whether what they say have any sources or have anything important to reflect on myself. What did I do that make people think that way? Did I do anything wrong? Have I do anything without being careful enough? But after I examine myself that I have not done such things, and I have done my best with my best intention for everybody, then it's okay. At least I can aware that even my good intention can be perceived in the wrong way. And afterward, I move on. So that is the key. Accept that people can say bad things about you. It doesn't change who you are. And then just take a bit of examinations on what they said. Doesn't have to be affected, they have to get moody about it, but just to use as information. Because sometimes it could be right. It could be that I have done something bad and wrong that I could improve myself to be better. And these people basically just pointing things out for me to just become treasure. So that's why sometimes comments is important, but just don't take it as something to be affected on. Because people can always have prejudice on you, whether it's going to be because of their fear, because of their lack of knowledge, because they favor other people more, or because they hate you. So these are the reasons why people become prejudiced over one another. So that's why we don't have to live by others people's moods, emotions, or feelings, but better live on our moods, emotions, and feelings by being careful in our own behavior. And that's why when people say something, choose not to be affected by them, take it into consideration, and excel above them.
Human mind has 2 modes, the thinking mode and the consciousness mode. And it's normal that we switch between the 2. The thinking mode is when we use our mind in everything, when we go to work, when we with our friends, with our partners, when we engage with different activities. And in the thinking mode, it keeps simulating many events of the past, events of the future, even events of the present. But it's not reality because it's a simulation, but we feel so real. And that is what we call wandering thoughts in that simulation. On the other hand, the consciousness mode is the mind when we become conscious and aware of what they do one thing at a time. It's like when you're standing by the river, but you don't jump into the river until you get wet. So this is two different. The problem is human mind is always on the thinking mode, on autopilot. It's like a plane that's on autopilot all the time. So we tend to keep wandering into different thoughts. So then it means that only the time when we come on the manual flight, or means when we're trying to practice our mind to activate the consciousness mode, then we become less wandering and become more focused and attentive. So the question is that how we can activate the consciousness mode more often. And the key is all about practicing and make it a habit. The first thing you can do is to take a pause and reset your mind before begin every activity in your life. Before you start your meal, before you start your car, before you begin your class, before you start your meeting. You can simply close your eyes, take a deep breath, feel everything around you, connect with your center. Just 1 minute of that short break. It allows you to reactivate that consciousness mode of the mind. When you do this more often, then you're getting used to reset your mind before beginning everything. So your consciousness mode become activated more often. Second, try to be aware in everything that you do by inserting activities that you do in your life with your something called mindfulness. For example, when you brush your teeth, what are you thinking? Usually every single thing beside your teeth. When you're brushing your teeth, the most important thing is inside your mouth. So you can simply implement something like counting the time you brush your teeth, or to become more gentle on placing items on the floor, or become more tidy in putting things into places. Those little things that you do when you apply it is actually help you to become more aware and tend to that focus on that task. As a result, you will activate the consciousness mode of the mind. So remember the two modes of the mind, the thinking mode and consciousness mode. The more often you can activate the consciousness mode, then you will have less wandering thoughts.
And please make sure to like and subscribe Mind Stories YouTube channel. Let us end at Brain Insight with the Lord Buddha's Dhamma quote. One who has sons sorrows over sons. One with cattle sorrows over cattle. Acquisitions truly are a man's sorrows. Without acquisitions, one does not sorrow. Now it's time for us to say goodbye. Please make sure to check out all episodes of our at Brain Insight News program on our website, gbnus.com. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful week. สวัสดีค่ะ